Hi, welcome to the News at Jen for Monday, March 8th, 2021. Happy International Women's Day. Happy International Women's Day to women and cis women. It's also National Poof Reading Day. Speaking of, I'll have a book coming out in mid-2022. Yep, your girl's got a new novel coming out. We'll have more details in the future, especially when I sign the paperwork. But thanks for your patience in missing out on my pretty face on Friday. If you didn't like my pretty face, though, I'm going to try and get this up as a podcast as well. Let's see if I can put that hosting money to good use. Did you like and subscribe yet to the show? Yes, do the things. But for now, our top story, it's not the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle interview, but because our ancestors fought a revolution about not having to give a shit about that. Instead, we're talking about the $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief bill, which the Senate approved along party lines this weekend. Republicans said that it was mostly out of habit, even though the majority of Americans support the measure. What's not to support? Well, it's basically less than half of what the Democrats had promised in the first place. I mean, we still have half the $15 an hour minimum wage, $1,400 checks instead of $2,000, and keeping the $300 in federal unemployment benefits. Of course, there are other things too, of course, but those are the most visible things. However, it is better than the government's usual response, which is nothing. Speaking of doing nothing, Senator and man fully inhabiting his name Roy Blunt said he will not be running for a re-election next year, paving the way for National Democrats to beg Claire McCaskill to run for his seat rather than, I don't know, letting the people living in Missouri figure out what they want. Though, before you judge the National Democrats too harshly, last time Missouri chose what they wanted, they sent Josh Hawley to the Senate. This is the fifth GOP senator retiring prior to the 2022 election, which will give Democrats another opportunity to disappoint their voters in 2023. Come on, y'all, just make D.C. and Puerto Rico into state already. Also, when doing nothing news, the trial for former police officer Derek Stefan for murdering George Floyd has been put on hold. They're trying to find an impartial jury, which is hard because nearly everyone has seen the video. But the right of a jury of peers in criminal cases is enmeshed in the United States judicial system. Fortunately for Mr. Chauvin, plenty of police officers have killed black men, so there are plenty of peers for him to have. In lighter news, voter suppression. The United States, the mechanism of democracy, voting, is undergirded with citizens voicing their preferences. In some places, lines to vote can be hours long, and some people have helped people in line cope with that kind of waiting through the practice known as line warming. This is basically giving food and or water to people waiting in line. Or online if you're weird. In Georgia, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger said this can be considered voter intimidation. This mostly stems from an incident where at a polling place where particularly spicy hot wings were served. This was, of course, a white precinct, and it was ranch. A measure was passed in the Georgia House to outlaw such line warming. When asked about the law, Mr. Raffensperger said that caring for strangers has no place in Georgia. In addition, Georgia lawmakers are looking into the dangerously persuasive effects of heating, air conditioning, and artificial light on voters. Some even believe that pens and ballots might also be intimidating. In Cole's news, 2 species of sea slugs can cut off their own heads and grow new bodies. Some scientists believe that it's because the slugs are frequently infected with a kind of parasite, and it just might be easiest to get rid of the whole body and start over. I get that. Also, in getting rid of dead weight news, Apple has discontinued their iMac Pro line. If you had money to burn on one of those $4,000 monsters, just join me on Patreon instead. It's a much better investment. In not getting rid of dead weight news, embattled New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has 2 scandals to deal with: nursing home deaths and sexual harassment allegations. New York State Assembly Republicans are launching an impeachment effort, which probably won't go anywhere because of the partisan makeup of the Assembly. But if the governor wants more New York Republicans to like him, maybe he should smile more. And finally, in Why We Can't Have Nice Things, Charlie Kirk. So that's the news at Jen for Monday, March 8th. 2021. Thanks a bundle for following me on this. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just super appreciative and emotional today. So please remember to like, subscribe, and also remember, I love you. All right, Steve, I got it. Now what?